on go, what is something that you could have said instead of go? Or I could have said instead of go. Start. What else?
College.
Beautiful, right? It's great. So college, what if it's clap on college, right? So instead of clap on go, you're like, okay, well, you know, when I say college, I want you to clap. 1, 2, 3, college, right? You clap that one time. So it's clap on college. You're setting the tone for that workshop with your students. Now, Langston and I don't expect you to do like a whole thing of team building, but you might bring in a few of these activities, maybe bookend your workshops that you're doing with your students, your parents, your teachers, with something like Clap on Go, and then some of these other activities we're doing as well. So that's going to be really important. Now, as we go throughout this workshop, we're in here for an hour, which is kind of cool. It'll go by pretty quickly though, as we start moving around and doing things. If I speak too quickly, Langston's better at this than I am. I go pretty quickly because I get excited. As you can say, Jeremy, slow it down a little bit, and we'll make sure to send you some resources too, and you're welcome to take notes. On the floor, what do you see? Okay, you see some ropes, some webbing. What do you see?
I see strings.
You see strings, yeah? Oh, this guy, right? What's your name? All right, Angel right there. He said comfort zones. I'm like, what's that? All right, so how many people know this growth zones activity? How many people know this? All right, so we have some people that know this. All right, so this one right here in the middle, we've got this circle here in this webbing. What would this zone be called? Yeah, that's your comfort zone. Give me some examples of where you feel most comfortable. Home.
In the bed.
In the bed, with your friends. Yeah, you're at home, you're sleeping, you're chilling. This is your comfort zone, right? So this is where our students, they'll give examples like that too. They're going to say things like, I'm most comfortable at home, hanging with my friends, whatever it is, sleeping, chilling out. Okay, so that's their comfort zone. Beautiful, that's great. But you have to make sure that you understand that it's kind of like been there, done that. It's comfortable because you know it, right? When you're in your comfort zone, you're in your element. We want to make sure that our students step out of the comfort zone into this zone. And what do you think this would be called?
Learning zone, challenge zone.
Yeah, so this is either the learning or the challenge zone, all right? So this is the zone where your students are going to start to challenge themselves, all right? Yourself too. You want to get in the zone where you're going to challenge yourself. We're kind of in that zone right now. We've never been in this situation before. I've not been in a circle with you like this. This workshop's relatively new. This is your challenge zone. We can actually learn some new things. This is the optimal zone. Challenge or learning zone. We're starting to grow a little bit, all right? And you know when you're learning new things, it's difficult. You feel a little weird. It's nervous. I don't know. Even learning how to tie the knot on the webbing. I remember the first time I was learning how to tie the knots, I feel weird because I don't know it, right? That's okay. Embrace those feelings. You step out of this challenge zone, what's this? That's great. We have a ringer here. This is the nobody knows. This is the danger zone, all right? Now, where are some areas where you would feel that you were in danger? Dark alley at night. Yes, that's for sure.
For our students.
Yeah,
A challenging class.
Sure, yeah, if you have a challenging class, or maybe a teacher is picking on you or something, that could put you in a position where you're no longer learning, you're in this danger zone and you start to shut down. All right? So this is where you want to talk through with your students some of the different elements of the comfort zone, the challenge zone, and the danger zone. So let your students talk about this a little bit. That's a really important thing to do. And normally what I'll do with this activity, which we can actually do now, is I'll give some examples. So I'll say, I'll give an example of, so speaking in front of people. Are you comfortable with that? So go ahead and move to, if you're comfortable. Is that a challenging area, challenge zone, or is that a danger zone for you? Okay? Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And your students will bring that up too. You can be half in, half out. So so now you can see who's comfortable speaking in front of a group. Now, beforehand, if you know the group you're working with, you might kind of get a list of 5, 10 things that you want to find out. It's beautiful because you can see it and each other can see it too. So how about, let's see, how about meeting new people for the first time? All right? Comfort, challenge, see that? You can start to see the personalities emerge, but I'm not asking you individually, but I can take note of it, all right? So this is important to note with your parents, your teachers, or now, again, as we go through these activities, just know that I want to make sure you get a lot of the goods, so I might just kind of, once I feel like you have it, we'll move on to the next thing. But this is normally after I've done a few examples, I'll have the students give me maybe 3 or 4 examples. So go ahead and shout out an example, somebody, of where you want to move here. Could be anything.
Choosing a college?
What's that?
Are you comfortable with choosing a college?
Are you comfortable with choosing a college? Sure. All right, so comfort, challenge, or danger. Okay. So I really like the idea, again, especially in line with this workshop, getting Europe into it, this idea of choosing a college, going out of state. These are questions that you can really ask your students and you can find out. And again, log these for future workshops. If you have a lot of students moving out into that danger zone, or even into the challenge zone with, going to college out of state or whatever it's going to be, you're already getting your next workshop from that, so that's huge. Now, one of the reasons that students will drop out of college, and there are many, it's usually not the coursework. It's usually the social element. They don't feel comfortable there. Who's my roommate going to be? How am I going to be treated there? There's so many different people on a university or college setting. We assume that our students will know how to get along with each other. It's simply not the case. This is some of a skill that we learn. One of the big parts of that is learning each other's names, right? So that's one of the big things. So Langston's gonna do a name game with you. Yeah, that's
The name of the game is called Bumpity Bump Bump. Anybody played it before? Okay. All right. So we're gonna do all these games, all these activities you can use to just make it a variation, make it yours. If you're doing a workshop or you got a group and maybe you're concentrating on attendance, okay, then make the game yours. Make the game, you can throw in phrases and like, target is okay. When we play, whatever you want your activity to be about, or just you can vary it. So game bumpity bump bump, how it goes is basically I'll step in the middle, start from the middle, I'm gonna come around to you randomly, I'm gonna say either left or right. So that means it's very important that you know the person named to your left and the person named to your right. Okay? So go ahead, give me a quick second to do that. And I'm Danny, I'm Langston, but I should be in the middle, so you don't want to get hurt. All right. So when I come up to you, I'm going to say left or right. And you have to say the correct name before I finish the phrase, which is the name of the game, bumpity bump bump. Okay? So we do that a couple rounds. If you say the name before I finish, I'll move on and go to the next person. But if I finish bumpity bump bump before you say the name, then we high five and we switch. You're now in the middle. All right, so we go do one practice. Left. Bumpity bump bump. Okay. Right. Bumpity. Left. Then. Left. Bumpity bump bump. Okay, we'll speed up a little bit. Left. Bumpity bump bump. Yeah, that's a little too much. Go ahead, switch it out.
Right, bumpity bump bump bump.
Slower or just
You're in the middle. That's your pace.
Right, bumpity bump bump bump.
You actually bump up.
Left, bumpity bump bump.
Langston.
Alright, so in any instance where they're like ties or maybe it's like, dude, I got it. And then the person was like, no, you didn't get it. As opposed to as a teacher or as a facilitator, like, okay, Gloria, you got it, okay. Now things are like, no one does, kind of favoritism. I don't like that. So instead of getting put in that situation, I like to do what this works from the beginning of the time, and it works at the end of the time. Rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
Yeah, work it out. So if it I think that was a tie. Was that a tie?
Yeah.
And what did you think?
That's fine.
So it's okay. There is a tie,
with the students.
or there is a disagreement. You guys, rock, paper, scissors it out.
I go rock, paper, scissors, draw.
Okay. No, rock, paper, scissors, then
No, 3 then.
Alright, so don't forget the high five. Got the high five.
Left. Right.
Yeah, you
They doing it too fast, so I got it. Left, bumpy bump.
Alright, so we're gonna throw in something else. Danny, are you okay with that?
Sure.
Alright, so Danny is gonna get, Danny's gonna have 2 new options. Again, you can still do left or right, or then you can go to first, you can say you, which is themselves, which they have to answer this themselves, or you can say me, which they have to say me. Alright, so know your left and right, know the person names in the middle, and know your name. So if you don't know yourself, introduce yourself right now to yourself.
Danielle.
Give her some love.
You said love, shake yourself, and shake yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
And now you're ready, Danny.
Left, bumpity Me too.
You missed it.
High five, don't forget high five.
It's in here.
Right.
Don't forget, when you say bumpity bump up, you give us all day answer. Or, what's your name again?
Leon.
Leon. All right, so here's what we can do. What site do you work
Here.
at? Curie. Okay, so Curie High School. Okay, so you have to, Leon, finish saying Curie High School. So when he says Curie High School before you finish, you're in the middle. That is his equivalent to bumpity bump up. And like I said, you can use them, make it yours. Whatever you want for it to be, you know. Because sometimes, some high school kids, I'm not going to say bumpity bump up. Like this, you know, let's go bring down my cool stature and say bumpity bump up. So you can make it, you know, if you're in the middle, I think you want the word to be. And you're ready.
Curie High School.
Okay, yeah, you got to give them 1 to 4.
You.
That's one of the number one things, like Jeremy said before. So all the social aspect, you know, most people when they go to a new school, go to college, go away to school, it's not the core studies that kind of bothers them, it's the social aspect. So, you know, knowing somebody's name shows a big sign of respect as opposed to you, the perfect coach. What's your name? What's your name? I know. Right. So it's just, you know, it's more.
That's actually my name. You're the perfect coach.
You're the perfect coach. That's your name. There you go. So I was lucky that time.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're gonna do one more game standing up in a circle like this, and then I'll let y'all sit down so we'll be good to go. We can kind of process things a little bit more. With this one, it's fairly simple to set up. It's called clap, pass, chase. What's the name of it?
Clap, pass, chase.
Cool. What's gonna happen is we're just gonna start right here, just the two of us, and we're just gonna do an alphabet pattern. So we're just gonna say the letter A together. So we're gonna say A. You're gonna be B. Yeah, just clap one time and say B together. Now you're gonna be C. There you go. B.
D, F,
G.
H, I, J, K, L, M,
N, A,
C, E, F,
G, H, I, J, K, L, M.
N. Okay, so that's our alphabet pattern. Now we're gonna do numbers, all right? So we're just gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
14. All right, so we have our alphabet, we have our numbers. Now, again, keeping with the theme of this workshop, getting geared up into the game. Now we're just going to say the name of a college, city college, university, whatever, so we can start to get some of those out into the atmosphere. So we could do, sure, UIC, and y'all.
DePaul.
Northwestern.
Okay, Northwestern.
Okay, so let's start back with the alphabet. We're going to throw these patterns in there. I think you know what's going to happen. Make sure, again, you really project these out there, and we'll see how it goes. Ready? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, so again, with an activity like that, so with clap, pass, chase, obviously there's a lot of different directions we can go, and you can even theme a whole workshop around an activity like that. The idea is, again, we have all these things that we're doing there with the group. So one of the main things there is, that was kind of a lot to juggle, right? You've got all these patterns coming around. How do we equate that back to our students that we work with, our parents and our teachers that we work with? How do you bring that back and make that really relevant for them?
Just school in general, like, you're going to have different situations, different obstacles that's going to come in your way. And then, of course, for us, even it was pretty difficult remembering the alphabet, letters, and the schools that we sent to that went to our partners.
Yeah.
So then it's just a matter of, with us, just, even you could be focused and then you get through those obstacles, and then again you have the hero. to support you and help you with those obstacles. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you with those obstacles and succeed and do well.
That's great. Right?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things I noticed is that it makes it easier if you can focus and you can kind of listen at the same time. Because you don't really know what's coming up, because it wasn't always in the same order. It wasn't always like the letters, then the numbers. They were coming all over the place. So if you can kind of hear the person, what's coming towards you, you kind of remember, okay, I'm supposed to say I to this person and J to this person. I'm supposed to say Dominican here, I say Carbondale here. Because you can kind of hear it, what they're saying up ahead when it gets closer. So that's kind of like the skill, like being able to focus and being able to listen, which is like a good note-taking skill and all kinds of stuff.
And being prepared too,
Right.
so like for what's coming
Yeah.
next, for sure. Do you have one?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's really for memory because we were doing all of this and that, but you have to remember your number, your name, your letter, and the college that you said. So it's kind of like listening, just like you have to do in college to memorize stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that could actually even be good for if you have like test taking, anxiety for students or whatever. Like this could be a good one to do before ACT. They see the brain wake it up a little bit. That's important. Here and then over here.
I was gonna say it's just a skill like multitasking because you have some kids have 7 or 8 classes, and to go to those classes, get the homework, and be able to go home and function, and have the homework done when it's due and things like that. So I think it's a for multitasking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just feeding off what Angel said is helping each other, but also it's looking for help for like a certain subject on a specific person. For instance, you have problems with math. You go for a math teacher or math counselor. You help with I don't know, juggling sports or something like that. You go to a different person. So it's not you're not looking for basically the help for all at one person, but you're like expanding who you're helping out. Because I mean, me and Victor or me and Pablo had one number for, and then me and Angel had a different number, and we kind of had that relationship saying which number we were going to say. And we're kind of helping each other out in a way and finding other people who can help you out.
Yeah, utilizing your resources, that's huge. Think about the actual content of this activity. So again, it's fun, when things are happening, you have like the letters, the alphabet, so you have the alphabet, you have the numbers, but then we threw in this idea of universities and colleges, right? So how could you take that and kind of use that when you're working, within a workshop setting with your students, parents, and teachers? How would you do it?
Careers, classes.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Like if you want to get really specific, you could like instead of like just doing like universities, you could say like let's do careers, like let's do classes you take in college. You could put anything in there that you want. You don't even have to do the alphabet and numbers. You can just get deep from the start with this and just say, okay, let's all decide careers. So once you generate this material, this is kind of what I want to get to. So let's say from what we just did there with the universities, what might you do with that information?
Here's a segue into like, okay, let's see what colleges you brought up, what colleges you guys named, and let's give them more information back on, oh, well, this is out of state, this is in the city, this is a liberal arts, this is an engineering school, give them more information about the college they need, because they knew that college, they might have an interest in that college, but they really don't know what they offer.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, isn't it just like pretty much getting exposed to those different colleges and careers? Because then at the age right now, they're pretty much, some of them might have a plan already, but most of them don't. I don't know, they're like, I know what I want to do in high school, I know what major and everything. So it's just when we talk about majors and, for them, they're exposed to different majors, so then we are able to make a workshop and so they can explore more. So they within colleges, the ones we just named, they're here in the state of Illinois. Pretty much state of Illinois, so they're able to get exposed to those schools. And then let's say out of state, we have a couple, Ohio, or we have Iowa, we have Wisconsin. So we are able to expand the knowledge of different schools and colleges and careers. So pretty much they are able to, pretty much having a plan after high school.
Yeah, from what we just did here today, I might actually just have like a post-it paper up here, or if I have the dry erase board, I might actually write up the headings of out of state, in-state, city college, university. Yeah, exactly. And it's talking about the difference between all these. And again, the beauty of this is you're putting it on the group, so it's less of you in front of a computer researching all these colleges that you should come in and talk to them about. It's coming from them. You might want to do some pre-work in case things don't come out, but from this group, like I heard city colleges, I heard universities, I heard in-state and out-of-state, those were coming up from this group, so I would use those. It's less work on me, and it's more relevant to you all, because I'd say, okay, yeah, why did you pick UCLA, or why did you pick that school? Oh, my brother goes there, whatever it's going to be, and then you can even get some cool stories that come from the students. It's less of this, and it's more of them speaking. Yeah,
I think it just helps with match and fit as well, and they can see the differences between, okay, well, maybe I'm fit for 2 years out of finance.
Yeah, totally. And this is where, as a facilitator, you can keep your eye on future workshops. Bless you. Think about things that come up, and maybe you're like, okay, I can't get to all this, but you're like, I definitely know there's a need to talk more about city colleges or out-of-state colleges because they're interested. We really want to make sure that they know. And again, this can even color, and you can figure out what are those trips that you're going to take. Say my students really want to go to University of Wisconsin-Madison. I had 5 students talking about that school. Then when you think about these big trips that we do, you can have input at those meetings and these meetings that we do here and say, here's what my students are interested in, and that can actually affect the work we do with Gear Up. So again, it comes out of a game called the Clap, Pass, Chase, right? It's really simple in that way, so it's huge, right? Cool. Okay, so what I want to do now is, now that we're sitting down and we're in this kind of setting, we're going to do 2 activities where you kind of need to be in a circle. If you have chairs, it's a great thing. You need to have one less chair than there are people, so I'll spin this one around. Next to the building of purple tone. Spin that one around. That one's going to be out of play too. And this one is obviously out of play because there we go. Cool. Okay, so if you don't have chairs, paper plates can work. You just need to make sure that there's a spot in front of everybody, essentially. That's going to be the biggest thing with this, all right? So this size circle is great, it's perfect. We're going to do a game that I learned as fruit salad. Now, fruit salad, I usually would just have people give me 3 of their favorite fruits. So you hear people say, okay, strawberries, grapes, bananas. All right, so you have 3 fruits. I would give you each those words, then the person will call out, like if I called out banana and that was your word, you have to move to a different seat. I try to get into the open seat. If I call fruit salad, you all have to move from your seat, and that gives me a greater chance of getting into the open chair. All right? But since this is getting that gear up message into the game, what we're going to do is think about the schools that you work in. Give me 3 things that you can do while you're in high school right now. What are 3 things you can do to help you get into college?
Learn.
Beautiful. Learn. All right, so learn. All right, so we'll tie that in with maybe grades. So yeah, learn. All right, so learn and study. Let's tie that in with learn. So you need to learn, which will kind of have study in there, grades.
You have to, because if you don't learn, how are you going to get in college?
How do you get into college, right?
You have to learn. You got to use that brain.
You got to use it. Your dad tells you. All right, cool. All right, so we have learn, all right? That's going to encompass the studying, the grades. What else do you need to do while you're in high school to get into college? Like clothes, sports, stuff like that? Yep, so we have learn, and now let's do extracurriculars. Yeah. And that way we can talk about that later. So we have learn, extracurriculars. Give me one more thing that you need to do to graduate high school, get into college. What can you do?
Attend to school.
What's that?
Attend to school.
You have to be there, right? You have to attend, so attendance is huge. So let's use these for this activity. So we're going to do learn, extracurriculars, attendance. Learn, extracurriculars, attendance. Learn, extracurriculars, attendance. Learn, extracurriculars, attendance. Learn, extracurriculars. You learn? Okay, cool. Okay, so if I'm in the middle of the circle, since I don't have a spot or a chair, I'm in the middle of the circle, I'm going to call out one of those 3 words. If I call out learn, raise your hand if you learn, you would have to move from your spot, and I'm going to try to get into the open spot, and we probably have a new person in the middle. I could also call out extracurriculars. Raise your hand if you're extracurriculars. Okay, so again, you would move if I called that. And I could also call out attendance. Raise your hand if you are attendance. Okay? All right, so you'd have to move if I call out attendance. I could also call out college. That's the theme, that's the umbrella that we're working under here. So if I call out college, It's just like fruit salad, we all have to move from our seats. And this is especially good to note because some people don't like to be in the middle of the circle, and they want to get back to their chair as soon as possible. So they call out college, gives them a greater chance to get into an open chair, right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing to have that out there as well. All right, attendance.
Extracurricular.
Collage, college.
College, we all have to move. Okay, so again, you can spend a lot more time with it, but I feel like once you get the hang of it, we want to make sure you get a lot of these games you can take into your schools. So with this activity, and we're gonna pick it up a notch in a second. What would you take from this if you were trying to maybe use this activity to like lead a workshop? What would we talk about? Participating. Yeah, you have to participate. I think studying was brought up. This is where you could also talk about GPA. You got to stay focused. All those things with learn, that's huge, right? So these are things that can emerge from, again, you can just go over there and write down the word learn, and then everything that you're generating here, we could do like small breakout groups and talk about GPA. We could talk about staying focused. All of these things that are coming up, participate, that's really huge. What's another one?
Well, just the fact that they're hearing these words, sometimes they don't hear these things. And you go to when I first came to high school, my mindset was, I'm going to probably drop out. I swear, I just went in there, I'm going to drop out. And it wasn't until I heard my teachers tell me, you can make something good out of high school. You can do extracurriculars, there's sports, you love soccer, go to the soccer team. There's clubs that you might be interested in. We want you to learn, and I know that you like learning about history, so you can go into the history club. Just, history, pay attention to history, you're going to like it. And that might make you change your mind about doing this. So just the fact that you're listening to those words, it keeps it in your head, so that in the end you actually have a structure. You have you know what you can do, and there's like opportunity for you to go out of it, like extracurriculars and all that stuff.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
It's really interesting because sometimes when we have workshops and maybe there's things that we have to go over, I sometimes have to research and how I put this together. And this is interesting because it's an activity. Instead of you doing all the work, you have them participate, do the work, and then you can go more in detail. And works like what you mentioned, learn, extracurriculars. You guys can talk more in depth.
Yeah, I think that's really the key to this whole idea is obviously we all need to stay updated on, what are the current trends in post-secondary options and things like that. So as long as you have that in your head, you can help guide things and make sure that you're informed, or you can say, I'm going to go look that up for you. But the idea is we would divide up this, just taking this game, fruit salad, and throwing that college theme to it. Again, I would write down learn, I would write down extracurriculars, and I would write down attendance. All right, so we just talked about learn and some of those things there. And then extracurriculars, we were talking about that a little bit there. We would have maybe people say, what are you involved with here at the school? And what does the school offer? So you're making this whole list. So think about what are your students going to lead with? And again, your parents too. Let your parents know what's at the schools. They can have a really great conversation at home with their child and say, okay, man, they have soccer here. They have this club here. And I learned that from this workshop. All right, so we're generating these things. And the cool thing is you're involved in soccer. I want to be too. I'm going to come talk to you.
And even, let's say, like you said, getting people involved, let's say there's not a club there yet, but then in that group, you see people that are interested in something like poems, writing poems, they might even just create that just because of that connection right there.
Yep. Yeah, you opened up the way for that. And again, I didn't walk into the workshop. Langston didn't walk into it saying, here's what we're going to talk about today. You all generated those three things as a group. There's much more ownership there too. Because I didn't come into the workshop saying, worksheet saying, GPA is what we're going to talk about. But we'll get to that when we talk, because you brought up learn. So we can talk about what that means exactly, all right? So then we talk about extracurriculars, we're connecting that way, and then attendance is a huge one. What would we focus on if attendance was written on the board? What would guide that conversation? What would you want to say there?
Maybe because our school at Northeastern, we have a lot of attendance issues, so we give incentives for them to actually come to school and stuff like that because our attendance is so bad. We want the kids to not ditch. Come to school at least, because they need to know if you don't come to school, you're not going to earn credit. and for them to understand that for them to come to school is the first step of going to college and getting ready for college.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely talk about that with attendance. You can also talk about being present in class, all right? So the idea is all of our students have phones, totally fine. But when you're in class, make sure that you're learning, right? So to make sure you're learning, you're really being present there in the class. So the attendance is more than just being there, right? What's that?
Well, the base thing about attendance is if you're not at school, then you're not learning. And how are you going to get to college if you're going to be late or not going to school every single day? That's why, that's one part of going to college, to have good attendance, so you can learn and step up to get to college.
Yeah, absolutely. That's your daily existence of just being there, being school. That's right on. Yeah.
I think another one with attendance, I catch students' attention a lot. What caught my attention, because I wanted to start teaching right away, but they told me, like one day I got sick, so I didn't go to school, and my friends told me, you missed all these things, and it was like all funny things. So the fact that I missed out on cool memories, funny memories, made me want to be there more. Instead of me wanting to ditch, I'm like, no, I want to be there. I want to see my friend something funny, or when the teacher tells us something stupid about his life. You know, like, it might sound stupid, but it's actually, it's a sociable aspect. You want to be alone, you want to have fun, you know, so it made me want to be there. So that bad thing made me want to do good things.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I really feel that.
Good.
That's great, and I think that that's one of the best things we can do for our students. I think especially working with Europe is create some sort of community where they feel like if they miss school, they're missing out. And that's not something you can artificially do. It comes through building these relationships. That's really the key. Like, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss school. I want to be there because these good things are happening. You know, and I think that's one of the great things we can do. On that note, again, going back to that social aspect, there's a great game. Let's say you did fruit salad, you did the college theme, you had those 3 things that you brought out, extracurriculars, attendance, learn. You had this great workshop, you talked about it, it's good to go. You're at this point, you're going to find that your students are like, okay, we've talked enough, we need to move. And I've got about 5 minutes left in this workshop. Make sure that, again, if you can book over your time with your students, do some attention getter like clap on go, do this game fruit salad, and then end with something kind of exciting too. While you're in this setup, there's a great game that Langston's amazing at facilitating. He plays it as All My Friends, which I think is totally cool. Let's roll with that.
Yeah.
All My Friends is a great game because you think about getting to know each other. The more you get to know, your students get to know each other and you get to know them, yeah, the more comfortable you are, and that's when you create these moments where it's like, oh, you missed out on this thing. We're getting to know each other. So this could be a great way to end your workshop with your students. Leave them getting to know more about each other and say, all right, I'll see you next week or tomorrow. But again, you're leaving on this high note. So this is, again, and it's in the same setting. So if your students are already sitting this way, you can roll right into this. You can roll right into it.
So when I heard Jeremy say, all my friends, I heard a lot of people raise your hand and played before. Okay, so we all, for the most part, play. So, like I said, everything here, all activities you can mold and shape to be what you need to do. So we're going to switch it up just a tad bit. The name of this game is actually Truth Move. So it's the difference from the same concept as All My Friends. If somebody's in the middle, they're going to say something about themselves. If it's also true about you, find a new chair immediately because you don't want to be the last one. The difference with Truth Move is I'm just going to get up there, I'm going to say my name and just something about me. Just plain and simple. If that is also something that we have in common, same thing, you're going to try to get a new chair. It's kind of like musical chairs, you don't want to be the last one in the middle. All right? If the statement is not true about you, then just don't move. Stay where you are. All right? Any questions? All right. You got a chair next to you that's empty, just rotate it so we can know empty chairs count as empty spots. It's not a spot. All right, my name is Langston, and okay, so my name is Langston, and I live in the city of Chicago.
My name is
Oh, no, what?
My name is Maya, and I like to eat cereal.
Okay.
My name is Sophia, and I like to draw.
Job. She has a good time.
Job? Okay.
Huh?
So,
All right, so really quickly, what was the importance or the purpose of that activity?
building connections, because you might notice that some people like the same things that you do, and you might have been shy to approach them before, but now that you see that you might have the same like, taste or something, you'll be like, oh yeah, I found that interesting. You might just make a really good friendship out of that.
Okay, break that there.
Well, this is good for especially like freshmen, because they're going into a new high school and they don't know nobody. And then they play this game and they have a connection with someone. Like, oh yeah, you like this, it's your interest, then we can be friends. So it's just for them actually, creating a bond with each other.
It's an easy way to break the ice.
I think the true move can be used as an icebreaker, like a connection piece, but also a name game, when you change it, make the name part. So instead of just playing a name game, another game, you use it.
That's right. And that's a great example of making it what you need it to be. You can mold it, shape it, shape it.
Yeah, I really liked when you added that aspect of, kind of making it more college thing, like you said, you were like, I've been to 25, universities across the country, whatever it is. You can see how that switches, and again, you could, as a facilitator, kind of do that when you feel like the group is ready for that. Or even switching it into, I'm at the point where like, I'd like to learn more about city colleges. You could say, we're going to call this game, so next week maybe you do it, I would like to learn more about. You know what I mean? So then you can figure out what your students need. So feel free to, after they've played it for a while and you get to know them, you can take this game and tweak it so that once you feel like, oh, they're kind of getting bored with it, you can make it brand new just by switching it up that way. And this is the one that yesterday when somebody plays this as Never Have I Ever. And that's where you can really get a little bit deeper with your students. So never have I ever lied to my parents or whatever that is. So if you have lied to your parents and you have to get up and move, so you can really get deeper with your students. Again, I would wait on that one, but you can get to the point where you can, when you start to trust the group, you can really get a little bit deeper with an activity like this. I also like this game, if you have a student who's having a horrible, horrible day, they don't want to participate, the fact they're even sitting with you in the circle, they're there with you, you know what I mean? And so if they're not moving, you can kind of see who's not moving, but they're still part of the game. So it can be a lower challenge game, or it can be higher challenge. It's really up to you.
Disruptive, which is important.
Exactly. But they're still with you. They're still with you in the circle, but it's like, yeah, it's one of those things where they're not being disruptive. That's a great point. So again, to reiterate from this workshop, and we'll make sure that we have your email because we do have some resources that we can send to you with some descriptions of games. There's some online resources as well. Anytime that words are used, that we're using words in an activity like bumpity bump bump, like Langston switched it up and said, say the name of the university. So it could be USC or Roosevelt High School, NEIU, whatever you're going to say there. So you can change the words if you feel like your students aren't going to say, those words that we're saying. You can switch them up. Clap on Go became Clap on College. Processing and questions. It's one of the hardest parts of team building, one of the most important parts. If you can process an activity the right way, it elevates it from just being a fun, great time, which that's right up there for us. Like that's really important. But these conversations we've been having, if you can process with your students and really get to those deeper questions, that's where they really are like, oh, that activity was great because, I got this out of it, or whatever it is. Processing is something that we should all be practicing on anything that we're doing. It's really important. The question is, why are we playing the game? How are we playing the game? Those are the things that should come up. Also the themes that emerge and the themes that are coming from your students. It's more than what you decided. It's really coming from you all. So the themes that emerged today, we wanted to talk a little about learning. All right, so making sure that we're learning. Attendance, the importance of being in school, that's a really important one too, and extracurriculars. So those are things from this group that I would say came out of the workshop, some of those themes, and we also generated a lot of universities today within this as well. So that's important. We were able to get to the Clap on Go, the webbing, bumpity bump bump, flat pass, chase. Didn't do the namesake, I don't have any time for that, but that's a cool one as well. The fruit salad and fruit food as well. And we're going to end with a little energizer. With all this being said, we'll definitely do a part 2 to this workshop with more activities, and I would love to hear more stories from the field too on I took this activity and here's what we did with it, because that's the beauty of these games. Once you know how to set them up, it's endless. You can take them and make them your own, and I would love to hear stories about that too, like we tried this. And Clap on College came from somebody yesterday. I didn't ever teach it like that until she was like, how about Clap on College? So again, we need to keep doing that and keep learning from each other, because that's how these games will stay alive, and more than just a fun time. It's like this is stuff we need to bring into our workshops. When you're doing your workshops with your students, your parents, or teachers, take an attention getter, Then take one of these activities, get your themes, and then end with something. And right there, easy 45-minute workshop, really, if you take that time to process, I think. Cool. Any questions or final thoughts from the group before we do a final energizer? And then I can almost smell the pizza. Yeah.
Is there like do you have like a big format of how to do each activity? Just so you can set aside an email or something like that?
Yeah, you know, we created a video a couple of years ago. Cole and Luis, who did the video here at the center, we filmed with 3 cameras. We did like a workshop of these games. I think we're going to try to continue doing more videos so people can see how to play them. There's also a Play for Peace manual that has some games. And then there's some good resources online. So we'll get some of those together and make sure that we email those out to you so you can see them. The only caveat there is a lot of the times, I think Mal brought it up, the games are called so many different things. Like you might not know it as All My Friends, you might play it like this. So just know that if you're looking for a certain game, it's probably there, it just might be called something different. So that would be the only thing. But I love to talk about this, and so feel free to contact me as well. My email is up there. And we'll make sure that at the end, we email kind of the notes from the whole session, so hopefully they don't get that too.
Well, I just want to say one final comment. Like, I really like the workshop right here because even though this is not really, like working with kids is not what I want to do for the rest of my life, I mean, I do like it, but I want to be a sports psychologist. So I feel like a lot of the things right here, I could apply it to the people I will work with. Like this, I will be able to, make a team spirit by using this, like building up a team. It's really interesting how you could like use it, and even in your family, you can build that up.
Yeah, just think about it. We could have just talked through this today, but we got to participate, so it's a little bit deeper. It's that experience, right? We all had that experience together, so now when we walk out there, we're a little bit closer. Those other people out there are nice, but we got something special here. Yeah. All right, let's stand up and let's do a final. Oh yes, it's time to go. So we're gonna have lunch here after this little energizer. This is called 8 shake. We're just going to shake our right arm 8 times, then our left arm, our right leg, and then our left leg. All right. So count with me. It's more fun if you count. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, Have a great lunch, connect with each other, enjoy the time here, and we'll see you back at 4:11. All right? Well, thanks everybody.